Hello and welcome to Starship Sofa's HQ. Today on the show we're going to look at why people don't like science fiction literature. Yeah, going to get into sometimes a little bit of murky waters there. But I hope you'll join me and find out my reasons why I think people don't like science fiction literature. Yes, hello and welcome to Starship Sofa's HQ. Today we're going down the murky depths or the murky road or that well-trodden road of why people don't like science fiction literature and why can we not get more people into the genre. Do you know, why is it this like kind of little niche aspect of book publishing that for me is huge? You know, I kind of eat, sleep and breathe the thing every day. Do you know what I mean? But why is it that we're kind of still this little, you know, in the kind of whole sphere of writing? Why is science fiction, you know, and I guess fantasy to some extent as well, why is it perceived as like not very good, not very nice, a little bit embarrassed by it? I'm certainly not, but I just want to kind of run over some ideas, you know, and like I say, hopefully you will kind of put some comments down, your reasons why, you know, why are we this kind of little niche, you know, tucked away when some of the stories, you know, all the kind of movies that are kind of coming out now are kind of big blockbusters are science fiction. Why is it that literature just doesn't seem to kind of get off the starting blocks and is kind of pushed right back? I've got some reasons, you know, and like I say, please put some comments down there. Let's see how we go. I would love to hear your thoughts. First one is, I don't think bookshops help at all. I know, and for me now, you know what I mean, kind of, I'm all digital there, got me little notes to kind of help us. But bookshops in themselves don't help, you know, they certainly don't help science fiction. I know of, I think 3 or 4 in my kind of local vicinity where I kind of used to go and still pop in now and again. The books, you know, the science fiction and the fantasy and the horror is tucked right at the back. Do you mean, is this your case with your bookshops? I've got one in Sunderland where it's right at the back of the shop and then there's like little kind of bookshelves and it's the furthest one at the back, dark and dingy. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, why stick it the farthest away? Do you know what I mean? Even maps, even the map section is nearer the front. Do you know what I mean? One of the main ones, and this is my bugbear, one of the main ones in Newcastle is in the basement. You've got to go through the children's section to this little alcove cubby hole. And just, what's the point of that? How is that going to kind of help science? Like I say, again, stuff that I wouldn't have thought was as popular is out there in the main kind of level of the floor as soon as you walk in. Do you know? And yet, science fiction, some of the greatest books there that I've went on to spur on to make millions in films, in industry and everything like that, tucked away. You've got to walk through a children's section to get to this kind of little dark, snug area. And yeah, science fiction fans will kind of go there, but you know, people I want people to kind of discover science fiction. They're not going to kind of wander, you know what I mean? They're just going to, you get hit with these books. It's like supermarkets. You walk in, all this fresh stuff straight away, all the goodness straight away. You don't get that with the kind of bookshops and science fictions we're tucked right at the back. Do you know? So there's me first little rant there. Bookshops need to, for me personally, bring it a bit further forward. Do you know what I mean? Is your bookshop the same as the ones I've encountered? What else? Well, funny, when someone says to us, oh, he's into science fiction, straight away, as someone who doesn't know us and doesn't kind of, oh, you're a Trekkie. Do you know, and little things like that, people's perception of what science fiction is, is just all over the place. You know, you're either a Trekkie or you dress up in cosplay and, you know, people don't appreciate that kind of, the works out there that are kind of science fiction works, literature works that are just outstanding. Do you know, even my wife, you know what I mean? Science fiction is a little kind of, little science fiction. I give her Flowers for Algernon, that book. And, you know, Daniel Keyes' novel, it blew her away. Do you know what I mean? 2 days, it was finished, loved it. And that's what I want people to kind of, you know, appreciate with science fiction. That's the beauty you can have. But when we've got these kind of tropes of like people's images of, you know, like old men dressed up as, you know, and there's some pictures online of, like you say, people dressed up as all sorts of cosplay. And I haven't got the problem with that. It's just, this is what people perceive as science fiction. When I say, oh, I like science fiction, do you know, straight away, oh, you're a Trekkie. Do you know, just like, yeah, behind you, you know, Harlan Ellison wrote probably one of the best Star Trek, you know, episodes ever. But the point is, people have got this perception, and we need to kind of change that. Do you know what I mean? We kind of need to kind of get away from what people think is science fiction. You know what I mean? Dressing up as Wolverine. Do you know what I mean? It's just not that at all. You know, any chance you have, give them books that are great so they can realise. You know what I mean? This is kind of my message. Give them, you know, Canticle for Leibowitz. Give them that. Do you know what I mean? Just like put these books in front of them, like I say, Flowers for Algernon. Put them in there so they know what the difference from kind of science fiction to kind of science fiction literature is. Another rant. I think we kind of sometimes, and excuse the French, shit in our own nest. You know what I mean? Yes. All this kind of fighting, inline, online fighting, just winds me up so much, and it does nothing, not one bit, for people looking in thinking, you know, that's probably a nice, you know, I might kind of get involved in that kind of genre, read some of it and, you know, mix around. Just this backstabbing going on. When the Hugos, yes, and the sad puppies thing is just shocking. Do you know what I mean? No wonder kind of people are laughing and giggling that way. Do you know, that carry on going on, and then the carry on with Jonathan Ross and the Hugos. Do you know what I mean? That really boiled up my kind of blood, that. The one guy that could kind of bring in a whole new crowd, and we start bickering and backfighting, and just all kind of blows up in my face. Do you know what I mean? Do we ever learn these kind of simple things? You know what I mean? We kind of want more people to come in, and yet sometimes, like I say, we're just messing around and just being idiots, total idiots. There's another little idea. Another reason, possibly, where people, you know, don't get science fiction literature, you know, they're just like other genres, and that's kind of fine. But they're probably thinking, you know, I want something in the kind of the real world, you know, the kind of love, the romance. And like I say, there is so much out there that is kind of, you wouldn't class as science fiction, but it's just, you know, set a couple of years in the future. That's, to me, science fiction. You know, yeah, you get these kind of great literature writers there, kind of want to, you know, shy away from it. But anything that's kind of not set in this kind of time-present universe, to me, is science fiction. Do you know, like I say, the Daniel Keyes one is the best example of that. Do you know what I mean? Just set, it's similar kind of universe, you know what I mean? Just, it's the actual, what's happening to that child, you know, the kind of, the advantages of like this kind of medicine, this kind of treatment he's had to make him super clever. That to me is all the kind of science fiction I need. You know, like I say, put that in someone's palm, do you know what I mean? And kind of take away the kind of tie-in Star Trek novels, put that in someone's palm and say, this is science fiction literature. Do you know what I mean? This is at its best. You know, and even kind of modern stuff that's just come out, you know, The Martian, it is one of the best rocketing stories out there. You know, hopefully that's a little kind of saviour, and that one book might do a little bit of good, you know, bring in a few more people. You know, and some of those novels as well, you know, people, it's not realistic. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you've got stories that kind of set billions of years in advance. Do you know what I mean? But if people just pick them up and kind of, the characters, you know what I mean? The good ones, the characters, they're the ones that kind of bring the kind of realistics out in a story. Do you know what I mean? And maybe, like I say, some people just don't get that. So maybe that's a reason why, you know, we don't get that kind of, we are this kind of small subgenre. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, what can a story written billions of years in the future bring to us? You know what I mean? But this is why we've got great writers. You know what I mean? They can do the impossible and make these stories come alive. We just need to kind of get them out there. Do you know? You know, at the beginning I mentioned, you know, shops. I think as well, you know, even trying to find online, you know, science fiction books, you know, just discovering writers out there who hasn't, you know, put it in, you know, who hasn't kind of checked out before, knows the kind of genre. You go on to, you know, Amazon, type in, you don't know a writer, let's say, just type in science fiction, you just get a whole wealth of kind of dross that of people have kind of put up their own stuff. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, I'm just saying it hasn't been curated by a kind of a publisher, an editor. Do you know what I mean? They're there because they spend the money because they know which is a good story, they know which is a good book. Yes, there is some brilliant ones out there, but there's also some dross. So how do we get through? How do we get people to kind of discover the great works out there? If, you know, if all this kind of dross is up there, let us know. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes, like I say, it frustrates the hell out of me. Do you know, this for me is the best genre in fiction there is. I love it. I eat, sleep and breathe it every day. And then, like I say, sometimes you kind of, things blow up in our faces and, you know, online squabbles and all that, and it just makes us cringe. It makes us cringe when people say, oh, you're a Trekkie. No, man, I just read fantastic literature. Do you know what I mean? It makes us cringe when you kind of, you're hidden past the children's section, past the maps, do you know what I mean? And you're right in the cubbyhole. Things like that just wind us up. Get one science fiction to be kind of there, you know, for people to kind of discover, you know, and like say Gene Wolfe, it gives you hope. That's what we want. This is what this kind of work does. Science fiction gives you hope. In this day and age, that's what we want. Do you know what I mean? There's just atrocity after atrocity. Just submerge yourself. That's what I want people to submerge themselves in science fiction. I want people to kind of come into this genre and enjoy it. And there's some blocks there that are stopping it. Which blocks do you think? Which is the kind of the one? Honestly, let us know, because this one's close to my heart. Which ideas or which thoughts have you got on why science fiction is kind of ghettoized? You know, it's kind of shoved at the back of a bookshop. It's kind of even hard to find on, you know, Kindle and Amazon. How can we make it better? Do you know what I mean? Or what other things do you think stop it? You know, apart from infighting, apart from all that, what other aspects of science fiction put people off? Put someone who would normally pick up a Jackie Collins, who would normally pick up, you know, a Daniel Steele, get them in as well, man. You know, why they're not picking up, you know, Scalzi, Neil Stevenson, why they're not picking up these, you know, I could go on and on, mind you, but why they're not picking up, do you know what I mean? There's some great works out. Pat Cadigan, just an immense writer. Why isn't these people discovering these books? We need to change that. Let us know your thoughts on this one ramble. That would be lovely. Comments below, please. That would be fantastic. Until next time, just like to say, good night from me. I hope you enjoyed that show. Please think about subscribing. You will get the shows each and every time I release them. And why not check out the videos? Worst science fiction books I have ever picked. Oh, they're there. Check it out. And while you're on, subscribe to the newsletter. You get Starship Sofa's Volume 1 free. Fantastic writers in there. Just sign up for the newsletter and you'll get that.